Like a lighthouse weathering each storm, Spencer Tracy's presence once anchored Golden Era films. From chiseled elegance to weary gravitas, he aged on screen with rare vulnerability, reminding us masculinity matures best when grounded in humility and craft. As Robin in Batman, Burt Ward bounced through danger with comic book flair. Now 80, his cape long retired, he champions animal rescue and mindful aging. From bright-eyed sidekick to bearded advocate, his journey redefines what enduring courage and care can look like. Once the gruff giant of Cool Hand Luke, George Kennedy grew from screen brute to family man and quiet philanthropist. Less idolized, but no less impactful, his transformation, broad shoulders to silver-haired elder, mirrors a masculinity that trades force for grace. Remember his volcanic monologue in the Heat of the Night? Rod Steiger's fury carved new emotional depth into film. By his final years at 77, his rugged frame softened, but his voice still cut deep, proof that raw honesty outlives the sharpness of youth. Once the storm-eyed King Arthur in Camelot, now remembered at 72 as Dumbledore's soulful predecessor, his shift from roguish icon to mythic mentor showed how gravitas can replace bravado, from chiseled rebel to silver-bearded sage who left poetry in his wake. Like a fading marquee sign, his charisma flickered, Oscar-winning and They Shoot Horses, Don't They? Yet at 64, his life ended in shadows. From tailored charm to troubled depth, his legacy questions how Hollywood once masked struggle beneath polished frames. Remember his quiet ache and brief encounter? By 74, he wore time like a second skin, shifting from buttoned-up lead to craggy elder statesman. From clean-cut idealism to weathered wisdom, his choices traced a masculinity shaped by restraint, not bravado. The haunted intensity of Psycho's Norman Bates once redefined fear. By 60, his gentle presence off-screen softened the myth. From sharp-jawed star to introspective artist, he challenged the macho mold, reminding us masculinity matures best when grounded in vulnerability. Once the sly-eyed rebel of Blue Velvet, Dean Stockwell morphed into a scene-stealing sage in Quantum Leap. From clean-cut charisma to white-bearded mystique, he embraced eccentric roles over ego, less a star, more a compass for bold, offbeat masculinity. Route 66 made George Maharis a drifter idol of the open road. At 94, before his passing, he painted coastal seascapes in quietude. From sculpted cheekbones to silver-streaked recluse, his path honored a shift from screen speed to soulful stillness. Like a sharpened katana, Toshiro Mifune cut through cinema with fierce precision. From battle-worn samurai to silver-maned legend, his face weathered but never dulled. His legacy bridges east and west, where masculinity means both honor and restraint. Before we continue these amazing celebrity transformations, here's a quick challenge for you. Can you subscribe to ThenVsNow Legends in the next 5 seconds? Smash that subscribe button and join us on this journey through time with your favorite stars. He stormed real battlefields before storming the screen into hell and back. Audie Murphy, boyish yet battle-hardened, died at 45. His transformation, soldier star, then somber poet, reminds us that behind stoic faces often lie wounds unseen. Once the thunderous force in 12 Angry Men, by 65, Lee J. Cobb bore the weight of moral complexity both on and off screen. From steely eyes to softened lines, his journey mirrored a cultural shift, from brute strength to nuanced manhood shaped by inner reckoning. Like a cathedral bell, Karl Malden's presence rang with conviction. From a streetcar named Desire to his passing at 97, he aged into a moral compass, his nose once mocked, now revered. His art proved character beats charisma in the long run. Remember his firm stare and iconic book Mdano in Hawaii Five-0? At 77, Jack Lord retired into quiet seclusion, his square-jawed mystique giving way to solitude. From TV titan to private soul, he embodied how strength can retreat without fading. Once the cool king of Bullet, by 50, Steve McQueen turned from fast cars to spiritual stillness in the desert. From tousled hair and grit to bald honesty and introspection, he carved a legacy that traded stardom for self-understanding. Once the smooth-talking lead in Heart to Heart, Robert Wagner now reflects at 95, his once crisp profile softened by time. Though the spotlight dimmed, he's embraced legacy over legend, his path echoing how charm can mature into quiet stewardship. Like a desert wind, James Coburn blew through the screen with dry wit and steel gaze. From the Magnificent Seven to Arthritis Advocate, his lean frame gave way to a weathered warmth, proof that resilience, not swagger, defines lasting masculinity. In The Time Machine, Rod Taylor raced through ages with brawny intellect. By 84, time caught up. His square-jawed strength mellowed into soft-spoken candor. His arc reminds us that icons can age with grace while still shaping the future they once imagined. Remember his cocky cool in Alfie? At 92, Michael Caine now favors storytelling and family life over red carpets. From sharp suits to grandfatherly gaze, he's traded bravado for wisdom, showing that masculinity can ripen into empathy without losing edge. Once the chiseled priest in The Thorn Birds, now 91, Richard Chamberlain chose truth over typecasting, coming out later in life with quiet dignity. From matinee idol to introspective advocate, his legacy lies in breaking silence with grace, not just stealing hearts. Like a weathered script, Jon Voight's story rewrote itself, from Midnight Cowboy's raw wanderer to a polarizing elder at 86. His face, once boyish, now etched with conviction. His path reflects how icons evolve, often trading adoration for unapologetic presence. Remember his single turn as Bond in On Her Majesty's Secret Service? At 85, George Lazenby embraces his cult status with humor. From rugged charm to white-bearded raconteur, he reminds us that legacy isn't always built on quantity, but on bold choices. The anarchic fire of A Clockwork Orange once made Malcolm McDowell a cinematic menace. At 82, his wild eyes soften into wry wisdom. From sharp-featured rebel to silver-maned raconteur, he stands as proof that edge and insight can grow in tandem. Once the ruthless magnetism of Wall Street, Michael Douglas now, at 80, leans into roles of reflection and mentorship. His sharp jawline softened, his voice steadier. He's traded alpha for elder statesman, showing power ages best when coupled with introspection. As David Vincent in The Invaders, Roy Thins chased shadows of paranoia that defined a Cold War era. Now 87, with snowy hair and a painter's calm, he's turned from conspiracy to canvas, proof that intensity can evolve into deeply focused peace. Remember his fury in The Godfather as Sonny Corleone? James Caan's fire dimmed into quiet resolve before his passing at 82. His square shoulders bowed but spirit intact, he became a mentor, embodying how toughness matures when tempered by grace. Like a seasoned oak, Robert Duvall stands sturdy at 94, his bark roughened, roots deep. From Apocalypse Now's bravado to porchside wisdom, his transition maps the shift from hard-boiled hero to reflective elder, a masculinity shaped by depth, not dominance. Once the offbeat heartthrob of MASH*, Elliot Gould, now 86, grew from tousled charm to a sage presence in indie film circles. From loose curls to silver grace, his journey reflects a masculinity that embraces complexity over cool, wit over swagger. Like an old oak, Donald Sutherland aged with fierce dignity. From Clute's brooding allure to the Hunger Games' icy gravitas, his 88-year arc ended in June 2024. His shift from tousled rebel to cinematic patriarch proved power can whisper, not shout. Remember his smoldering gaze in Westworld? At 85, James Brolin pairs rugged past roles with a grounded calm, often seen beside wife Barbara Streisand. From jet-black locks to bearded gent, his evolution shows how presence deepens when the spotlight dims. The wild monster in Young Frankenstein once roared with mad charm. By 71, Peter Boyle became a sitcom sage, his bald crown and quiet wit anchoring Everybody Loves Raymond. From comic chaos to paternal calm, he found power in restraint. Once the haunted heart of Sunset Boulevard, William Holden aged into roles marked by quiet gravitas. From Golden Boy features to world-worn lines, he shed stardom's polish for raw humanity, his legacy reminding us that vulnerability often outshines vanity. Remember his bionic leaps in The $6 Million Man? At 86, Lee Majors walks slower but speaks with purpose. His once sculpted physique yields to grandfatherly charm, proof that real strength isn't in speed, but in the stories we choose to pass on. Like a granite cliff face, Clint Walker stood tall in Cheyenne, unyielding and iconic. By 90, his frame had softened but presence endured. He aged into a quiet monument to classic grit, showing that masculine ideals can weather and still hold firm. As the fugitive, David Jansen gave chase to justice and himself. Before his untimely death at 48, his brooding charm gave way to weariness, a reflection of the roles he chose. His legacy endures as a reminder that restlessness can be its own kind of truth. Once the lollipop-loving sleuth in Kojak, Telly Savalas cut a striking figure, bald, bold, and magnetic. By 72, his gravel voice softened, but the edge remained. From chrome dome to cultural icon, he proved that charisma isn't in the hair, it's in the gravitas. Like a worn trench coat, Peter Falk's legacy only deepened with age. From Columbo's shambling genius to his tender storytelling in The Princess Bride, his 83-year journey, glass eye, raspy voice and all showed how quirks can carve the deepest cultural grooves. Remember his intensity in Beretta? At 89, Robert Blake's later years unfolded in controversy, far from the screen. From coiled charisma to weather defiance, his story is one of brilliance shadowed, reminding us that legacy and complexity often walk hand in hand. Once the voice of Darth Vader and soul of the Great White Hope, James Earl Jones, now 94, speaks sparingly but with undiminished resonance. From commanding frame to quiet elder, he shaped masculinity through tone, proving power can come from within. In The Terminator, Michael Biehn was the battle-scar protector who shaped sci-fi masculinity. Now 68, with a silver beard and quieter rhythm, he mentors indie filmmakers, showing that resilience isn't always loud, and warriors can grow into guides. Like an unfinished novel, William Hurt's presence lingered with complexity. From broadcast news to late-life introspection, his once clean lines gave way to textured wisdom, proof that inner conflict, not polish, often defines a lasting masculine legacy. Once the magnetic rebel of the right stuff, Dennis Quaid now, at 71, writes music and speaks of second chances. From square-jawed youth to weather performer, he's embraced reinvention, showing that masculinity deepens when it makes room for grace. Remember his quirky chaos theory charm in Jurassic Park? Now 72, Jeff Goldblum wears eccentric suits, plays jazz, and leans into wonder. His tall frame now draped in whimsy, he proves that curiosity, not dominance, can redefine enduring male charisma. Once the hopeful inmate in the Shawshank Redemption, Tim Robbins, now 66, channels his energy into activism and indie work. From sharp-jawed lead to thoughtful elder with silver curls, he reminds us that true stature comes from conviction, not marquee lights. Like a trusted leather jacket, Kurt Russell's appeal only deepened with wear. From Escape from New York's anti-hero to Guardians of the Galaxy's celestial rogue, the 74-year-old now embraces grandfatherly grit, redefining ruggedness with a wink and steel-eyed wisdom. Remember the mustache charm of Magnum, P.I.? At 80, Tom Selleck trades Hawaiian shirts for ranch life and blue bloods. From sun-kissed swagger to broad-shouldered gravitas, he shows that quiet integrity can outlast even the glossiest fame. Once the soulful surgeon in Everwood, Treat Williams brought warmth to every frame. At 71, his sudden 2023 passing left a legacy of compassion. From tousled heartthrob to gentle bearded mentor, he proved masculinity could lead with empathy, not ego. Once the smoldering force of 9.5 weeks, Mickey Rourke, now at 72, walks a rawer path, his face reworked but spirit undimmed. Trading studio fame for indie grit, he reshaped his narrative, proof that survival, not symmetry, defines lasting masculinity. As American Gigolo, Richard Gere embodied 80s cool. Now 75, with silver hair and a quiet gaze, he champions human rights and Buddhist causes. From sleek seducer to soulful seeker, he models how masculinity can evolve into compassion without losing weight. Like a coiled wire, James Spader buzzed with tension and intellect in Sex, Lies, and Videotape. Now 65, with soft edges and enigmatic calm, he channels restraint over rebellion, his arc proving that mystery matures best when anchored in self-awareness. Remember his defiant dance in Footloose? At 67, Kevin Bacon now plays rural gigs and shares unfiltered wisdom online. From wiry youth to bearded elder with groove, he shows that freedom never fades. It just learns to move with deeper rhythm. Once the boombox-bearing romantic in Say Anything, John Cusack, now 59, leans into political activism and indie scripts. From lean teen icon to graying outsider, his shift reflects a move from dreamy ideals to real-world convictions, unfiltered, unpolished, unapologetic. Like a jazz riff, Dudley Moore's charm was quick, clever, and deeply felt. From Arthur's lovable lush to a quiet final chapter shaped by illness, he passed at 66 with humor intact. His legacy echoes a masculinity rooted in warmth, not stature. Remember the tough tenderness in Who Framed Roger Rabbit? At 71, Bob Hoskins left behind a career built on grit and heart. From bulldog charm to weary wisdom, his arc showed that empathy, not elegance, can anchor a leading man's legacy. Once the electrifying Henry Hill in Goodfellas, Ray Liotta remained intense to the end, passing at 67. From piercing blue stare to weather depth, he embodied the raw edge of 90s masculinity, leaving behind characters as flawed, fierce, and unforgettable as he was. Once the hardened Lieutenant Dan in Forrest Gump, Gary Sinise, now, at 70, devotes his life to veteran support. From angular intensity to silver hair humility, he's chosen service over stardom, showing that true impact often begins after the spotlight fades. Like an unfinished riddle, John Malkovich has always defied easy definition. At 71, his sharp features now lined with quiet wit, he continues to bend roles and rules, reminding us that masculinity isn't about clarity, but the confidence to be complex. As the last king of Scotland's brutal ruler, Forrest Whitaker redefined power on screen. Now 64, with a softened profile and soulful presence, he mentors young artists, proving that strength evolves and legacy lives longer when passed, not preserved. Remember his explosive unpredictability in Goodfellas? Now 82, Joe Pesci lives far from the flash, quietly playing jazz. His once tight frame relaxed, his edge distilled. He reminds us that ferocity can fade, but authenticity never has to shout. Once the clean-cut Robin in Batman Forever, Chris O'Donnell, now 55, swapped cape and fame for steady work on Enzale. From youthful jawline to salt and pepper steadiness, he chose stability over stardom, proving quiet endurance can be its own kind of legacy. Like a burning manuscript, Nicolas Cage's career rewrites itself endlessly. From face-slash-off's action frenzy to Oscar highs and meme-fueled turns, the 61-year-old, with weathered features and a rebel soul, shows that reinvention can be louder than relevance and far more fun. Remember the snarl and smirk in Heathers? At 55, Christian Slater channels that edge into voice work and subtle roles. From slicked hair and rebellion to refined wit and softened contours, he evolved with grace, less icon, more craftsman of the offbeat. Once Roseanne's burly backbone, John Goodman, now 73, re-emerged leaner, quieter, and still commanding. From booming laughs to layered gravitas, his arc reflects a masculinity redefined. Less about size, more about soul, always grounded in humanity. Like a sculpted mask cracked by time, Ralph Fiennes once carried icy elegance in The English Patient. Now 62, with a roughened edge and stage-born gravitas, he shapes meaning over mystery, proving that masculinity can shed perfection and still command. Once the feverish genius of Shine, Geoffrey Rush now, at 74, leans into quieter theatrical roles. His wiry frame now softened by age, he's traded frantic brilliance for deliberate nuance, his path showing how mastery matures into mindful storytelling. Remember his calm command in Jurassic Park? Now 77, Sam Neill tends vineyards in New Zealand, cultivating wine and reflection. From clean-shaven scholar to white-bearded vintner, he proves that evolution isn't escape, it's returning to what roots us. In Leon, the professional, Jean Reno redefined the quiet anti-hero. Now 76, his broad shoulders bowed slightly, he's chosen a life of privacy and occasional poetry. From brooding hitman to introspective recluse, he shows that softness can follow strength. Once a thunderous Richard III, now 86, Sir Ian McKellen's transformation into Gandalf brought wizardly gravitas to new generations. From angular stage lion to silver-bearded icon, he champions authenticity, reminding us that truth in art transcends age or aesthetics. Like a flamenco rhythm, Antonio Banderas's charisma evolved with precision and soul. From Desperado's smoldering fire to Pain and Glory's introspective ache, the 64-year-old's features now echo wisdom, proof that allure grows deeper when rooted in reflection. Remember Pride and Prejudice's brooding Darcy? Now 64, Colin Firth channels that restraint into roles of quiet complexity. From crisp cheekbones to thoughtful lines, his path shows that elegance need not fade. It simply trades posture for perspective. Once velvet-voiced and sharply angular in Dead Ringers, Jeremy Irons, now 76, radiates gravitas with every word. From lean menace to lined mentor, he redefined the aristocratic mold. Less aloof now, more sage, never losing that enigmatic glint. Once the wiry menace of Reservoir Dogs, Tim Roth now, at 64, carries his edge with restraint. From sharp-jawed intensity to thoughtful elder roles, he's traded volatility for emotional nuance, proving that growth means channeling fire, not extinguishing it. Schindler's List gave Liam Neeson gravitas, Taken gave him grit. Now 73, with lined features and a quieter pace, he reflects more than he fights. Once a symbol of cinematic vengeance, he now models how masculinity can outgrow fury without losing force. Like a twilight shoreline, Gabriel Byrne's presence is moody, magnetic, and changing. From brooding priest in the end of days to soulful therapist and in treatment, his now gray gaze invites depth, proving masculinity deepens when silence speaks volumes. Remember his steely charm in The Godfather Part 3? Now 69, Andy Garcia composes music, mentors talent, and leans into family life. His features, once fierce, now mellowed, reflect a shift from ambition to legacy, where influence outlives acclaim. Once the gruff heart in Bruges, Brendan Gleeson, now 70, wears his weathered features like armor shaped by compassion. From fierce-eyed intensity to soft-spoken depth, he proves that masculinity can be powerful without posture, rooted in empathy, not ego. Like a Shakespearean sonnet, Patrick Stewart's presence deepens with time. From Star Trek's poised captain to a reflective 85-year-old advocate, his bald crown and steady gaze remind us that age refines power, it doesn't replace it. Remember The Matrix's Morpheus and that voice like thunder? Now 63, Lawrence Fishburne mentors from the margins, his once youthful fire tempered into focused strength. From sculpted presence to dignified gravitas, he shaped a masculinity steeped in wisdom, not dominance. Once the electric force in Carlito's Way, John Leguizamo, now 65, blends activism with performance. From wiry swagger to graying defiance, he redefined the Latino leading man, speaking truth to power, showing that cultural legacy is built, not bestowed. ThenVsNow Legends is feeling a bit lonely. 99% of you haven't subscribed yet. Show us some love and hit that subscribe button so we can keep bringing you the jaw-dropping journeys of your favorite stars. And if you're as fascinated by then and now glow-ups as we are, check out our previous videos. Trust us, they're totally worth your time and ours too.